So moving on from the AFC playoffs, we go to the NFC playoffs. The Rams defeated the Seahawks 30-20. The Rams surprised me. They played extremely well. They started off watching their backup quarterback, who was the starter for Jared Goff this game, John Wolford, just get a brutally late hit laid into him. His injury ended up being so severe that he was taken to the hospital in an ambulance during the game. So in comes just Jared Goff. His thumb was extremely swollen. It looked like twice the size of his other thumb. But he got the job done. He didn't make too many mistakes. And I just have to say, like, the Seahawks and Russell Wilson in particular just did not play how I thought they would. I didn't get to watch a lot of Seattle's games this year, but I know at least at the beginning of the season they were an extremely explosive offense, and I just wonder what happened to that offense, because it all but disappeared down the stretch, and they were not able to move the ball hardly at all during this game. It just looked bad, and I mean, a similar thing with the Steelers. Windows are closing. Russell Wilson's not going to be, this talented forever, so we'll see what happens there. I mean, I say that about Russell Wilson not being talented forever, and yet let's talk about two guys who have been in the NFL for seemingly ever. We got the Buccaneers defeating the Washington football team 31-23. Tom Brady, he went off. He won his 31st playoff game, which is just an absolutely insane stat. Kristen Heineke, he played a lot better than I thought he was going to. Last week I talked a lot about how, they need to get the life right. Someone needs to get the life rights to Alex Smith's story coming back. And with that, I was just extremely disappointed to not actually get to see Alex Smith play. Who knows if he's going to come back? Who knows if he's done? The fact that he fought back at all is insane. But, Kristen Heineke played serviceably in his absence. I think he earned himself a good amount of money, at least a backup role, if not in Washington, somewhere else. But the Buccaneers were just too talented. Despite the defense for Washington putting up a good fight, it wasn't enough. So from one old guy to another, let's go to the Saints beating the Bears 21-9. Drew Brees looks old. Tom Brady doesn't look old at all. Drew Brees, this is very clearly his last year. But he got a win, and the Saints are so good with everyone around him that they really could make a push. And, Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl his last year, and he was a shell of his former self by that point. So anything's possible. The Bears, on the other hand, they did not belong in the playoffs. I think it was clear to a lot of people going in, the 8-8 Bears coming off a loss to the Packers weren't going to compete, but I hope that the fact that they were fairly easily handled by the Saints. I mean, they only scored that touchdown at the very end of the game, which Jimmy Graham, funnily enough, made a great catch and then just walked into the locker room because it was all pointless. But I heard there was a lot of rumors about extending Mitchell Trubisky. I hope this game puts that to rest because he's not the long-term starter. We'll see about Matt Nagy, but the Bears, it's weird to say about a team that made the playoffs, and that made the playoffs not even with the worst record, but the Bears have a lot to sort out. And similar to the Packers, their defense is great. The window's closing. They gotta figure something out. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. If you're interested in the entire show, it comes out at the end of the week, or you can check it out on any podcast service that you like. And if you're listening to this later on in the week on a podcast service, well, why don't you check out our YouTube channel? It's Wicked Good Sports. Give us a subscription, some thumbs up on some videos. We'd greatly appreciate it.